everyone. So, grab stuff from here. I'll show you where I'm at. I did finish one of the tasks yesterday. So, I'm now here. Or maybe I finished two. Anyway, I got to here. Obviously, I need to brew the 7 potions. I know some of them are waiting here, ready to go. I put this one on. I was able to pick up 1 toadstool yesterday afternoon, and I knew I wouldn't have very long. So need to go, let's see, 2, 3, so I need 4 more. Okay, so yes, I still want to see how many of these I can do. 1, and see if we can collect some more. Or is what we're gonna do. Collect some more of the stuff I need for that. So, had to see what that was. So as you can tell, I'm a little bit more focused on, let's get the potions going. Obviously, so part of the reason for that is I need to get the potions going to help clear out room, or I'm going to have to delete some stuff I do want. So, not a doxy, but that's okay. I need him too. I need more doxies than I need of him, but that's okay. My temperature gauge says it's 7 degrees out today. I just had a guy, we let a bike go that was in front of him. I was at that 4-way stop. Let the bike go that was in front of the guy. And as soon as the bike was almost far enough that he could go, or that we could go, the guy behind him tried to go, as we had both started. And then he realized, oh wait, I should wait. There were 2 here before me. So the reason I am not harvesting from the greenhouses right now is I do not want to fill up the space I do have in my ingredient vault with stuff. Because I have 27 toadstools waiting for me in just a little bit. So, obviously that's a number of toadstools, and if I fill up with everything else, then I'm going to have to delete that much more. Someone decorated their car like a reindeer that just passed. They had reindeer horns on both sides and a red pom-pom in the middle of the grill for the nose, or of the radiator grill. So I will say, if anyone needs angel trumpet, if they do the gifting, I've got plenty to give you. There it is. The first one just harvested, or just dropped. So come up here, and there they are. So let's see where we're at before I start collecting. Okay, that's got me enough for at least 9. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, I'm not gonna pull still because we still have 2 more ready to go. I did let everyone know about them. I don't want to use these. I'm still looking for Bulbasaur juice, or whatever it's called, because I would like to have to do 1 or 2 more healing potions, finish out my potions for this event with the healing potions, because, well, they take less time. And then I can move on to the bonus assignments. So there is a new update out for Wizards Unite. You can actually choose some of the positives. They supposedly have fixed the battle in a gym with 3 buddies. So it's supposedly logging now. Of course, I think the last update supposedly fixed that too. So, also red dot on achievements. I guess for some people it's still showing up, even when they've scrolled through it. So that was supposedly fixed. They've let's see, what was the... So there were a few more fixes, actually. Maybe while we're here at this one, we will go see what the other fixes are. Considering I know I'm not too far away, I guess I just stop here for a minute. Okay, there. Let's go to Discord and I will show you what. Go into my extras. Oh, and the 12 tasks of Christmas has been changed. One of them. So, you will have an in-game newsletter, and in the port keys, you won't have to move around anymore to look at them. You'll be able to pan around just by using your finger, it sounds like. I guess Diagon Alley sometimes when you go in and to look at a pack is saying you don't have enough gold. So they fixed that. Some stability issues when sending gifts is fixed. And if you tap the info button a number of times when adding friends, you'd get stuck. That's been fixed. Master notes, if you were in them and went straight to Diagon Alley, they would disappear. That's been fixed. Being able to see your own dark detectors at ends has been fixed. They fixed how it displays your wizarding XP because there were some issues there. And we talked about this on a stream once, that the trace that shows up when you go to click on it is a different threat level than when you actually get them, or like in the encounter versus the registry. That's been fixed for the new registry. Long load times after selecting a chamber has been fixed, and I'm not sure on the other two what there are. There are still a number of things they know is going on. So one thing is the new Android update right now, the start button isn't working. So just be aware and make your choices there. As for the 12 tasks of Christmas, defeat 30 foes in wizarding challenges replaced. Complete one chamber in your highest chamber. So that should be a lot easier. The more I think about it, I think it's called Bubo Turbo Plus. Yeah. So, actually, I want to click on this, see what this is. No. Well, yeah, actually, that is what I want. That's the Bublio, and it's a thing I don't mind going after. One more bobble towards that one. In some ways, I think gifting or trading ingredient items would be cool. In some ways, and this just dawned on me, I'm not so sure. And my reasoning for that is this. I could see it being used as a way to double the item space. So one person saying, okay, I will only collect these things, and another person only collecting other things, and then when they are ready to grow, they trade back and forth. They're ready to use it, they trade back and forth. So I have 4, I need 9, so I need to get rid of 3 of something. Probably it's looking like my snowdrop. No, let's get rid of angel trumpet. The reason I did that many is so that I can collect that. If I'd seen that, I could have done that and then not worried. But that's okay. Let's go in and wrong place. There we go. But it'll just open up more room. That's okay. Okay, let's see if any of these I either need or cast a booblio on. Because I'm not in a rush to the next one. We're here and go from there. Missed a toadstool. Didn't say that. I don't want... Well, I guess I could now. One more set of toadstools, and then we can go do something else. I may head up and start to map towards Hyde Park. Ooh, let's go after this. Oh, I don't need it, but we will. Go let people know about it. Let's see, where are you? There. figured I'd do that because then they know, and where I've got so many toadstools here for them, I have a feeling I'm going to need to get out here. Pretty positive, actually. So, one, two, three, four. I was right. There should be 5 more somewhere. So, because I did fully max this one out. I see another one, but I'm crossing the road, so. Five, 6, and it clicked on something. Oh, we can go after that and then we'll get the 6. 6, 7, 8, 9. Now back to the car. And I guess I could harvest those angel trumpet that are right there. To make up for the ones that I threw away. Not quite as many as I threw away, but that's okay. I didn't need them anyway. So, because I haven't been using the trace. I did hear Pokemon Go. They're talking of doing some things to make it easier for rural players. And I wonder if that includes some changes to ways or to the POIs in rural areas. That would be the best way, is to say, okay, you can submit more things. You can submit things that wouldn't count in busy areas like rivers or streams or stuff like that. Road, where they cross the road. Maybe submit mailboxes or residential things, as long as you have something with the owner's permission on that you submit with it. Things like that. If you don't have a POI within this far. And stay at a distance. Because if they did that, then it would be easier for rural players to get their stops in everything else. and would encourage them to get out and play more. Because I know a lot of rural players, one of the issues with getting out and playing even every day is they only have access to 1 or 2 stops max. And then if they drive a ways, they might have a fortress or things like that. I know my sister, her and her kids only play sporadically because of the effort they have to go to be able to play. In their area. Now, if we went up there sometime, I bet Brett or Caden could find some more areas there for them and get them submitted. But they can't submit right now because none of them are level 40. So they can't submit. No one in that area is level 40. And I don't think any of them play the other Niantic game either. So they aren't playing Wizards Unite, and they aren't playing Pokemon Go very much in that area because there's not enough POIs. I hate returning this one. They are enjoying themselves. At least they look like it. I mean, Harry and Angelina, sure, let's return them. They're stuck in a block of ice. Hagrid and Madame Maxine are being attacked by pixies. Hermione and Crumb are stuck in a Christmas bauble. Those are all negative. Fred and Angelina are enjoying the snowfall. But at the same time, I can see why they did that. Honestly, had they done one of the meaner ones to Fred and Angelina, I could see a backlash from that, a huge backlash from that. So I'm not going to say anything about the fact that they did that other than it's so sad to return them. Because you're like, no, let's just leave them and let them enjoy themselves. Even though, you know, the idea is that we need to return them because they are, because that memory has been stolen from Angelina. And she's missing a part of herself. And so we need to be, she's gone through enough. We need to be nice to her. And I guess if you look at it like that, then it makes it not quite as bad to return them. if you consider it more of a memory that's been stolen from her. Because I would bet that is a treasured memory to her. Because that would have been one of the last calm times that she had with Fred before everything happened. One of the last times they would have had to really enjoy themselves before the war started for her and for Fred. So I guess if I look at it that way, it's nowhere near as bad to return it. In that case, we're not stopping we're stopping the loss of that memory. I mean, with Harry, okay, it's obvious. We're releasing him. But with Fred and Angelina, maybe the better way to look at it is we're returning the memory. Because honestly, with Harry, that memory's not, Harry and Hermione, that memory is not a pleasant memory. They look like they're having fun. But anyone who's read the books knows that that was a miserable time for both of them. I was actually surprised to see Draco as the one left out, but as a single, and Harry with Pavarti, because when Ron was slouched at the table like that, so was Harry. Or like it is in the Calamity Part 1 registry, Harry was there beside him slouched like that. Harry was miserable because it was at that point, I think, that he first really began registering his feelings for Ginny. So Ginny was having a blast. Harry was not. And Pavarti took off because of it. Because Harry was not having fun. And was not fun to be around. During that time. I know a lot of people think that Harry would be fun to be around during this time, but if you really read the book, but even that's the way Constance makes it seem. Constance does not register. It appears Constance is much younger than Harry and them. Because Constance, it appears, was not even a first year during the Yule Ball. The only memory Constance has of the Yule Ball is through pictures. Well, those pictures do not display the fact that Harry and Ron did not want to be there. the fact that that people were risking their lives. Obviously, it's not displaying that. Etc. It is interesting. I wonder where she saw the pictures. If she's just a few years younger. So, like, if she came in a year or two after the Yule Ball, well, even then, that would have meant she would have been at Hogwarts. I guess it's possible she was at Hogwarts during everything with Voldemort. But she doesn't seem to act like it. I kind of think Constance came in possibly the first year after Voldemort had been defeated, so would have put her 11 when Harry and Hermione were were 19, so 8 years apart. That's possible from the looks of Constance and Harry. And then let's see, this was 4th year. That would mean also everyone who attended the Yule Ball would have already graduated, or everyone who was even going to school during the year Yule Ball would have graduated. I don't know. Where would she have seen the pictures then? Is it possible, or the other possibility is that if she came in when the first year students wouldn't have had, none of them would have had pictures. Because it was only 4th years and up that were allowed to go. And if she came in when the 4th years, so when Harry's group was in 7th, that would have still been that would have been right at the end of the war. And I don't know how many would have been showing their pictures. Because Ginny, I will say this, everyone in I guess maybe, let's see, maybe it was because some of the 3rd years when Harry was in, if the 3rd years, some of the 3rd years could have showed their pictures. So some of the are just younger than Harry. Because we do know Ginny went. We don't know how many of the others Ginny's age went. So maybe some of them went and were 7th years and were kind, and especially that year after, that very first year, I would bet there would have been more of a camaraderie between everyone in the school. First years probably wouldn't have been picked on. They would have been more looked after, I would assume, just because of the situation, I would bet that first year after Voldemort that there were even fewer students at the school. Because as a parent, so you weren't required to send your kids to school. So knowing you weren't required and knowing what happened, I would bet, so you could homeschool your child or choose a different school to send them to. And we know there were other schools that Voldemort did not attack. So as a parent, would you have, as a parent in Britain, would you have wanted, that would have been a tough decision to make at that time. Obviously, all the orphans would have been sent to school. As long as they didn't, if they were in orphanages, they would have had to go to school, wizarding school. We don't know anything about Constance's life, so we don't know if she was... There, that didn't delete good. We don't know what went on with her family during the war. Let's see, how many gifts did I have now? I have 26. I know I don't need 26. So we'll delete most of this spell energy and then go enter things in. So we don't know what happened with her family during the war. Was she also an orphan due to the war? Or what? We don't know. But we do know that all orphans that are in orphanages would have been sent to Hogwarts. They would have gone, period. We also do know that some families would have still sent their kids to Hogwarts. Others would have chosen to send them somewhere else, feeling it was safer. So I do believe that things would have been such that the number of students at Hogwarts would have been reduced. Because of everything that happened. We know Harry's year was actually pretty small compared to other years. We know that that would have taken a few years to increase, though I can see a year or two after Harry actually having, so there would have been a point where people started, well, possibly the year after Harry would have been increased. But the more I think about it, not very much. Because, yes, they celebrated that night. But then we hear, actually, let's go here. But then we hear that they had issues. And we know that there was still a huge worry about was Voldemort actually taken care of? And there was still the fight with the Death Eaters and everything else. And so it never fully resolved. So when would the numbers have increased? Or would they still have been depressed from everything before? That's hard to say. When exactly that increase would have happened. I'm too far away. I will take that, though. Okay, now let's try. So we have the reduced numbers, probably still kind of in effect, but starting to build up. About Constance's year, if we assume she's 8 years younger than Harry, I would not want to go so far as to say it's completely back to what it was before before Voldemort. I doubt that within 8 years that would have happened. Partway, a big part of my reasoning for that is because I really suspect that what would have happened is there was still enough uncertainty. And then, so there's that. So we, maybe a little bit more than in Harry's year, but not much. And we know Harry's year was had fewer. We know maybe a few years before and after had fewer. So already kind of small. And then we have the war return. And we have students killed. And their families killed. And whatever else. Some of them would never end up back at, or some of them figure the year, if we figure Constance is 8 years younger, then the year before Constance started, anyone who had a wand that was a muggle would have, and likely even who was half muggle, would have been thrown in Azkaban unless they ran. So there's that. We know that would have happened because of everything that happened. So you would have had a slight increase the year after as they brought those students that should have come in the year before. They brought them in. But you also would have had a lot harder time convincing parents unless that was hidden. Now, if it wasn't asked, I could see that there not being much said about that. Because I don't know that you would, if you were trying to get a student to attend your school, you probably wouldn't admit that the school had been, or that the whole wizarding world had been under attack just a few months before. So you would have had I would bet that you had more Muggle-born than usual per year. Which would have meant many of those who were there still, especially the 7th years, would have been even more likely to take them under their wing. Because these are kids who have lived through it. Many of them fought beside Harry. Most Slytherins that would have either, one, proven that they were not part of Voldemort. I will say Slytherin would have been a lot harder house to be in. But all the other houses would have been, because Slytherin may have been rejected at the same time. Harry would have been doing his best at this time, to bring that hatred away, pointing out that he was alive because of Draco, and pointing out that Draco walked away. We do know that and the fact that the other thing that would have been known is that all the other Slytherin students stayed away. They did not go fight. And those who did fight would probably be on the run. A lot of their families would have been kind of targeted. So, if you were a Death Eater, you would know that your family is at risk now. Or that you're at risk of getting caught. And so you'd be less likely to send your kids off to school at Hogwarts. You may have sent them to Durmstrang or somewhere else, but probably not to Hogwarts. So, with Harry's help, it is possible that all the Slytherins would have actually also been taken under wing. And been taken care of. Not sure where that flag is. Okay, straight down 1, 2, 3 blocks. So right around in here. Right here. So which was it? It was the Magical Games and Sports. This one's actually kind of funny that there is a flag here, because that's a school. Anyway. Go back up here. So I guess what I'm getting at is they would have been taken under their wing more. There would be more of a cohesiveness between the students. So that would have been a possibility to see the pictures then. Okay. Got everything here. So I think the group would have been smaller. Each of the years would have been reduced by some from parents not sending their students, having chosen somewhere else, or figuring it safer to homeschool them, and from deaths. So that's my figuring as to what would happen the year after Voldemort was defeated. Some of them, yes, would return. The other thing the other thing to consider is at the same time you would also have a rebuilding of the castle going on. Now, how long would that take? That one's a hard thing. You know, some would say, well, there's no way they would have school that next year at that school. I'm not so sure, because it is magical. Now, they are magical spells that were used to destroy, and we know magical spells are harder to overcome. But my question is, and this is the part that gets me and where I'm not sure, and why I think it is possible that they would have still been able to do it. And let me throw this out. We know not all magical spells are that bad. Even ones meant to maim and destroy. Well, not maim and destroy, but even ones meant to hurt. Couple things. One, Draco was his was not bad enough that they had to take him to the healers. Now, we do know that Snape was pretty good at what he did. Had Draco had to be taken to the healers, Harry would have had to be charged with a crime and would have been taken out of Voldemort's care, probably kicked out of school, everything else. I accept that. So, how much was it because how much was what happened with Draco specifically to protect Harry? That one's hard to judge because we just don't know enough. We do know that there were other spells that Madame Pomfrey could take care of really easy. And that people could even deal with in their own homes. I mean, okay, we know splitting yourself should have usually sent you to the healers, to St. Mungo's. We do know that, and we know Hermione took care of that with Ron on her own. So, we do know that much. But we don't know. But we also know of other things that were taken care of at home or whatever. So what how much would the damage have been? I guess is what I'm asking. And that's hard to say. Because the damage may have been significant. But it seemed like most of the spells that were cast, here's one thing to remember. Those with Voldemort thought they had it in the bag. They had Voldemort on their side. There was no way this ragtag bunch of hooligans that couldn't understand, that was stupid enough that they don't understand why being pureblood is so special and why magic should only be kept in magical families and everyone else that you shouldn't intermarry, etc., etc. How this bunch of people could defeat them. They were undefeatable. They had Voldemort. And this other group had nothing. That already killed the boy who lived. And there was no one would be able to defeat Voldemort. And and once this group was defeated, Hogwarts would then once again serve as a bastion to learning, but would become more like Durmstrang. So damage was inevitable. It had to happen because we're fighting. But would they have used spells that were hard to repair? Keep in mind, they still wanted their children to be educated. Just they wanted their students educated in the pure blood belief. If they didn't, Hogwarts would have been, if this wasn't in the plan, Hogwarts would have been shut down the year before and destroyed. Because Voldemort had taken over. And everyone that didn't agree with Voldemort was being sent to Azkaban. And anyone who fought was being punished, and they were trying to reteach them, or to teach them, the pureblood ideology. We know that was the plan for Hogwarts, because look at what happened in 7th year with Neville and Ginny and all of them. I mean, Neville took it amazingly, meaning he put up with what it was, but he was not going to back down. Neville was truly a member of the Order of the Phoenix, even if he had not joined. Harry could not have had a better man fighting beside him at that time. Yes, he needed Ron. Ron was always going to be there. Hermione was always going to be there. Ginny was always going to be there. But you know what? Neville didn't have to. It would have been so easy for Neville to pretend to accept and needed the beatings that left him scarred the way they did. And they did leave him scarred. And those beatings, as we hear from Ginny was proud of Neville. Ginny is not easy to make proud. So if those beatings had been from not being good enough, not doing well enough in your schoolwork or things like that, Ginny wouldn't have been proud of him. But Ginny was proud of him. And it was because of exactly why he took those beatings. And it was, he could only, it was that he was not going to follow the ideology that Voldemort wanted him to follow. And so, from this, we learned that Hogwarts was to be in a way, Hitler's youth for Voldemort. Hitler's youth was created to grab the children when they were young and over and over and over teach them the beliefs that you wanted them to have. So that as they grew up, they would be proud to follow those beliefs, and those would be their beliefs. No matter what their parents taught them, that would be their beliefs. The Russians did the same. Honestly, in some ways, you could claim that everyone who has an educational system does the same, especially if it's required to attend. And remember, Voldemort required every pure blood to attend Hogwarts. Every pure blood child that would have been in Hogwarts was required to be there. That's why Ron had to have why things had to happen the way they did for Ron, to where supposedly he got spattergoit. because otherwise his family would have been punished for not sending him to Hogwarts, finding him and sending him to Hogwarts. And Ron would have been basically they would have been a target. Ginny still was not quite a target because it was not realized quite as much the role she played in Harry's life, I don't believe. And she knew quickly how to disappear. Plus, they knew how smart Ginny was. And I think their hope was they take Harry down, and Ginny's smart enough to go along with everything and use her strengths and everything for the betterment of the country, in the idea of in their ideology. Sorry, I'm trying to get this centered. Because Ginny would have been, honestly, one of the ones that would have been needed to rebuild. She was smart, she was strong, the works. She had skills that they needed. So they would have not wanted to destroy her. However, Ron, on the other hand, I hate to say it, but I think he was too close to Harry. And I think in many ways, one, they would have used Ron to try and get Harry and Hermione to show up. Two, I think he still had too much of an ideology that they couldn't accept. And so he would have been, I hate to say it, but I really believe he would have been destroyed. Drat! The start button's gone. Even though I didn't update it. It either updated on its own or, yeah. So the reason I'm going in this one still, I found out one of the books that I need is in this one. I really would have preferred the way it was before because that was faster than this. And now we're getting no extra drops either. Anyway, so as I was saying, I don't think how they would have been using spells that would not be easily reversed, because they would have wanted to be able to rebuild Hogwarts before the start of the next school year. Would have been the plan, and obviously Harry and them would have not been using spells that would have permanently destroyed Hogwarts either. So Hogwarts would have been... Now, some of the spells would have been destroyed. Those spells protecting Hogwarts, some of them would have been destroyed. I do not believe that the spells blocking the Muggles from seeing what was going on would have been destroyed. Just because Voldemort wouldn't have wanted that either. Not yet. In the he may have down the road, but not yet in this time period. He was not ready to... I don't believe he was fully ready at this point to take over the Muggle world and make them slaves yet. Yes, he may have done that soon, but I believe he still would have hid... Even then, I think he still would have kept Hogwarts hidden from Muggle eyes, because it would be a point of a target. And Voldemort's not stupid. If you're going to control a people, you do not want to let them know where your children are being taught. Because the best place to target... That would have been one of the best places to target. Take out the kids. You have a better chance of being able to defeat. So, as they had started fully going after Muggles, making themselves known, if Hogwarts was obvious, they would have targeted, would likely target Hogwarts. And obviously, you don't want that happening. So I'm after the standard book of spells, making sure that gets... So let's see where we're at. Or is it History of Magic? It's the other one. Let's see. History of Magic. So we're still going after it. So I believe they would have not destroyed those spells, because I believe they would have wanted them intact to protect the kids. The other part of that is this. how many parents, if they were forced to send their kids to a school that they knew was at risk of being bombed, would have left the country. And obviously you don't want that either. And even the Death Eaters and stuff would not have wanted their 1 or 2 kids, because that's all they would have, to go to a school that was at risk of destruction. So I believe he would have, Voldemort wasn't stupid. So I believe he would have wanted Hogwarts to continue functioning. Let's see if I have any runestone gifts. Nope. Everyone wants to send me ingredient gifts. Well, that's all I can open, because I literally can't open any of the other gifts I've been given, so I still have 7 gifts I could open. But no one wants to send me the right ones. Oh well. Got some good ones. How many do I have? Let's delete this one. Delete this one. Let's go check out my runestones. Use up the last Stronger United one. Not the one I wanted. Now I need to debate. Hey, I do have one more I can use. And since I don't have to worry about going in my strongest chamber or highest chamber, now whether that would have meant that you have you can reach. I don't know exactly what that would have meant. But since we don't have to worry about that one, that's helpful. So tomorrow is when it'll happen, is when that'll go live. I do know some of the bonus is going in the chambers. So there'll be that. So I need to save some of my rune stones, so that's what I'm saving those for. So I guess I'm gonna let you guys go. And I will talk to you later. Bye.